have to put it here. Maybe that. Maybe. It's okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. I am playing around with lighting. And as a result, I think I can probably do a better job when it comes to the lighting. It's always a bit difficult to get the lighting right. I think this over here might work better though. So, I suppose. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you very much for joining. Hello, Arena F. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you very much, as always, for joining. Privyet. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and it is time to look at level test tips, which is what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do in today's lesson. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel. And I'm sorry about the strange beginning. I was just trying to play. I was trying to be clever with the lighting, and I wasn't really. I don't know. I'm always trying to. That's, I suppose, is nice. Maybe a bit brighter. That's okay. It's a bit too bright now. Yeah, one day I will be happy with the lighting. Today is not the day that I'm happy with the lighting. Because the other thing with the lighting is I like to wear glasses. But if I have glasses on, you can now see like the lighting. So it's not ideal. I mean, it's softer on the eyes though, I suppose. But it's probably just a little bit too distracting. That's the only thing. So I hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday afternoon. I know that it's a nice warm day in. I know it's a nice warm day in Malta. Well, not warm, hot day in Malta. But that being said, I know that lessons are now happening physically, and this presents many challenges. But one of the things that you guys will be able to do again is to actually take level tests. So in this video, I want to give you guys some good advice of how to approach level tests. What you can do that will give yourself the best opportunity to do well in a level test. So yes, but I'll wait for a few more people to arrive before I start. Now the IELTS video hasn't gone up yet. I will put that up tomorrow morning. I think in the coming weeks we'll see a few more of these sort of videos. And then afterwards, we'll see. I mean, winter's going to be a busy month, certainly for me, at least, and everyone in tuition. But I think the winter's looking like it's going to be pretty busy. As always, I will try and see how, as we move into winter, I will have a little think of how we can of the daily live videos, how we will do the daily live videos and when we will do the daily live videos. Potentially, I don't know. We'll have to see. I know that there's quite a few things going on. So if there are, when it's not a question of if, when there are changes to the schedule, I will of course let everybody know. And then it's also a question of what sort of content we want to try and achieve. It's certainly going to be challenging, and hopefully the daily live videos will be able to continue. But we will need to have more than one person, that's for sure. So we'll give people just 5 more minutes. Maybe they are actually. I wonder, can I find it? I'll see if I can find the lesson today. Usually there are more people by this time, and I thought there would be more people ready to look at today's lesson because of the title. Let's see if we go on. Do, 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 do. So AM language. And yep, I can see it. So that's fine. I'll share it anyway for now. Um, 1 second. Well, I can see it, so maybe people are just being slow. But I'm surprised we don't have more people early on with such a lesson topic. So, just in case you're watching this later, let me give you some tips. Okay, so I'll just go into them. The first tip that I'm going to give you. So, tip one. Now, a tip, by the way, is it's worth actually understanding what a tip is. If you give someone a tip, okay. So let's have a little look at how this is quite good site, by the way, everybody. I do recommend it. I recommend this site. It's a very good site. It's it's Merriam-Webster, and it's a very good site for when it comes to. It's an online dictionary, and it's a really good one. So tips, okay. To give a tip is to give advice. Okay, so that's what we're looking at today. So let's look at this level tip advice, and we're going to start off with tip one. Now, Um, tip one. Now, depending on how the teacher decides to go about it, if I recall, most teachers uh, start off with, I believe they start off with read. No, I think most teachers might start off with listening, then they'll do the writing, and then they'll do the reading. I think that's how a lot of teachers do it: listening, writing, then reading. Some might play around with listening, reading, and then writing. If it were me, I think I used to do it listening, writing, and reading. So, tip one is to do with the actual first task, which is going to be listening. Okay, tip one, predict the answers. Now, what do I mean by predict the answers? When you have a listening, okay, and this is to do with listening. Now, you're going to have you'll have two listening listenings, um, both divided into something like roughly 6 questions each, or so. Sometimes it might change over a period of time as these things are updated, but on average you'll have roughly two recordings, more accurately. So you'll have two recordings. Now the first tip is to predict the answers. Now when I say predict the answers, it means read the question and read what you and start having an idea of what type of answer you will need to give. So, for example, let's say question, the recording one, and you've got fill in the blank, for example, and it says, well, actually, first there might be. I know there's a whether it's a true or false actually. So we'll start off with the blank one. Let's say the line is, uh, they agreed to meet at on Wednesday morning, for example. Okay, let's say you see this. If you see a question like this, you should be able to look at the missing information and automatically make a prediction. Now, it doesn't mean you predict 10:30. It doesn't mean you predict the number. You predict what needs to go there, and in this case, it's time. So they agreed to meet at a time. So here you can make a good prediction that you need to listen for a time, and that will help This will help you to listen for specific information, which is why this is important. Now, my second tip, okay, is for the next bit, okay, tip 2. And this is to do with true, false, or not given answers, okay? Now, again, I can't remember. I'm not going to tell you the order and whether it's first true or false or then blank questions. That's not important. What I am going to give you is the idea of when you come across a true, false, or not given answer. My tip 2 is not given. It's to do with not given. Not given is specifically the information is not said. And that's the tip. You might think, but Richard, that's obvious. It isn't. It's very common that people assume. So please don't assume. This is because we end up looking at language and we make assumptions about the language. We make assumptions about what they might be talking about based off our knowledge. So let's say there's a sentence, and the sentence reads, John is going to invest in oil tomorrow. Okay, you see this thing, and you've got the choice of true, false, or not given. Okay, if it's true, you will hear the person confirm that John is going to invest in oil tomorrow. Now, you might hear this paraphrase, so not word for word, but you'll hear that John is plans to invest in, for instance, a paraphrase would be John is planning to invest in oil tomorrow, or John plans to invest in oil tomorrow. That would be true. A false would be John is not going to invest in oil tomorrow, or John is not planning on investing in oil tomorrow. Or maybe even John is, it could be a trick one. John is planning to invest in oil next week. In which case, this would be false. So, what is not given? A not given would be if they said in the recording, John plans to invest in oil. Or John plans to, or John is going to invest in oil. This is going to be not given because the sentence reads, John is going to invest in oil tomorrow. So in order to make sure that the answer is not given, you need to make sure you've read the whole sentence and you've looked at everything that's going to make a difference in context, such as time markers, tomorrow, or the object of the sentence. So that's tip 2. Not given means the information is not said, and that's for the whole sentence. So very typically, the sentence might give you part of an answer, but not the whole answer. For it to be true, there needs to be the whole answer. For it to be false, there needs to be clearly the wrong answer. And not given is either information, some information is not said. And that's down to the smallest detail, such as not given. Okay, so that's tip 1 and tip 2. So now let's go on to tip 3. And tip 3 is going to be writing. Now, tip 3 for writing. Really, really important. Now, 1 second. Tip 3, have an idea of what you're going to write before you write. Now, for the writing, you have typically 30-35 minutes. It's quite a long time. Um, don't just read the question and start writing. You are not going to do well if you do that. Have an idea of what you're going to write. And I encourage everybody here to kind of follow the IELTS the way this is how I would teach IELTS students, for example. Make sure you have an intro, then paragraph, then paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and then a summary slash conclusion. Okay, divide what you're going to write into 4 paragraphs. Okay, intro, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and then a summary or a conclusion. Now, why should you do that? Well, it's quite simple. An intro introduces what you're going to write about. And most of the time, it's going to be a question that's going to ask you to discuss something. So, paragraph 1, discuss the positives. Paragraph 2, discuss the negatives. And paragraph 3, conclude with your thoughts. So, if the question is something like, do you agree that we should eat less meat, for example, you would start off with your introduction. So the introduction, you're going to introduce the topic you are writing about. Okay. Paragraph 1. Here you can go with maybe 2 arguments, for instance, for eating less meat. Then you can, for paragraph 2, for paragraph 3, okay? Actually, wait a minute, I've just realized what I've done here. Okay, so paragraph 1, okay, in terms of, how did I divide this? So intro, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and then summary. Okay, I'll stick to that format. So then in paragraph 1, you write 2 positive arguments for eating less meat, for example. Paragraph 2, you then write some negative arguments for eating less meat. And then finally, you give a summary and your conclusion of what you think. That's it. And if you just take 5 minutes, you do this in your own language. Just take 5 minutes. Think of 2 positives, 2 negatives. And if you divide if you already know what you're going to say, it makes the writing a lot easier. You give yourself more of a chance. Now, this leads on to tip number 4. Very important here. Tip number 4. Tip number 4 is meaning is more important than grammar. Now, why am I saying this? Some people spend a long time thinking about their grammar. But you might spend a long time thinking about grammar, and even if you get the grammar right, it doesn't mean we are going to understand the rest of your sentence. You might end up thinking that, what if I don't do very well with my grammar? What if I get the grammar wrong? Okay, yes, you are going to lose points, but the best way to gain most amount of marks is first and foremost meaning. If the teacher cannot understand what you have written, that is going to knock off more marks. Because if you can understand what you've written and the teacher understands what you've written, chances are it means that the grammar is mostly correct and your choice of words are also mostly correct. Meaning is really important. After all, why do you learn a language? Why do you learn another language? You learn another language to communicate it in that language. And if you're going to communicate, you're going to communicate meaning. So meaning is your priority. It is your priority over your choice of grammar. And it is your priority over your choice of vocabulary. Now, to score high, obviously, the more complicated words you use and the more complex grammar structures you use, that's obviously the better. You do obviously need to show the type of grammar that you have learned and that you're going to, and that the next level, when you go to the next level, the teacher will expect that you will already know that grammar or have a good idea of that grammar. So, yes, you do need to take risks, but your priority when you are writing, first and foremost, is meaning. So that's your focus. You need to make sure that you have got the meaning there. This sometimes means that you might have to choose something a bit simple. Maybe you don't go, sometimes you might just have to write a slightly simpler sentence. Okay. Right. So we've now looked at 2 tips for listening. We've looked at 2 tips for for writing, and now I'm going to give you 2 level tips for reading. So tip number 5, when it comes to reading, read the questions first and read the title. So first things first, this is the first thing you're going to do. First, when you see the paper in front of you, read the title and read the questions. Don't get your paper and start reading. Read the questions. Know automatically before you've even started to read, look at the questions. The questions will tell you what you will need to look for. So, and this goes for any test. Now, okay, I'm talking about a level test, but this is the same whether you're doing IELTS, a general English level test, the Cambridge exam, a TOEIC exam, whatever the English exam might be, you read the title first and you read the questions first. Once you know what the title is and once you know what the questions are, that leads on to tip 6. Tip number 6, predict the type of answers the questions are looking for and predict what the reading is going to be about. So, because you've now read the questions and you've read the title, well, if you've read the title should give you an idea what the reading is going to be about. And if you've looked at the questions, you will then know, you'll then be able to predict what type of questions the answers are looking for. Are the answers looking now? There are different types of questions that you are going to get in the reading. Um, True, but if it's, and I'm talking about the first reading here, because you've got about 3 different questions or 3, 4. You'll have 3 or 4 different questions in about 14 minutes. But I'm talking about the first reading, which is reading exercise, which is when you are actually reading the text. You need to read before reading the text, predict what the text is going to be about, look at the questions, and automatically think, right, what are the questions asking? What are they looking for? Now, it could be a summary of what the a bit of the text is about. It might be true, false, or not given. It could be missing words. Whatever the task might be, read the questions and predict what sort of answer is the question looking for. Because you now have an idea of what the text is going to be about, and you have an idea what the questions are asking, it means that when it comes to reading, you are not wasting time. You can be very efficient with your reading, because then as you read, you can then say you'll have your pencil, for example, and you can sort of you can go through, and then you'll see, oh, okay, so this seems that so this sentence is related to question 1. This sentence is related to question 5. This gives you a better chance. This is a better way of tackling it. So these level test tips focuses on your strategy, because a big thing about level tests, or the IELTS exam, or the Cambridge exam, the TOEIC exam, it's all about if you want to do well, you need to make sure you have the right strategy in place so you can actually perform well. It's about giving yourself the best chance to do well. And the best way to do well is to make sure that you structure your approach so you can answer the questions within the time frame. You're not rushing. You automatically give yourself the best chance to do well, because after you've read the questions, after you've read the text, after you've read the title, you are you are you are giving yourself you're focusing your mind, so you already have a good idea what the question is asking you. um, a lot of time is wasted by people just reading and then looking at the questions. You waste time. um, let's say you are a pre-intermediate student, or an intermediate. Let's go for intermediate. Let's say you're an intermediate student. You might have 40 minutes to do the reading task, and let's say you've got the first reading. The reading might, if you read normally, it might take 5 minutes to read. Well, 5 minutes is going to be 5 minutes out of 40 minutes might take up a bit of time. You don't want to waste those 5 minutes. First, take five, if anything, first take a couple of minutes just to read the questions, read the title, make a prediction, and then start reading. And that way, you can actually be more efficient with your time. It is time management, but more specifically, it's task management. So these are 6 tips that can help you in the level tests, which also help you with what I would call task management, okay? Or question management, actually. That's probably a better term, okay? So question management, okay? Manage your time well. That's the point. So there are my 6 level test tips. This also will help with IELTS as well. Please make sure that you like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thank you very much for watching. Arena F, thank you for watching as well. And I'll be back tomorrow with another live English lesson at 4:30. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great afternoon and see you tomorrow. Please share the video. This will help a lot of people. Thank you very much, and bye for now. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Evelina. Thank you very much for watching, and you too, Arena F. Bye for now.